when you start a podcast, you just become a podcaster. No, you become a master networker. You become so influential because you're developing other people through your podcast, or you're building your own brand. I think people think that podcasting is a camera and a microphone. It's so much more than that.
What's good, everybody? This your boy Sledge, the People Champ, checking in, and this is 6is1ne4orus podcast, brought to you by 6is1ne4orus. Listen, today I got a good group of people today. I wanted to do something different, want to give people some flowers and put some people in the forefront. Today I got close friends with me today, and I'm going to let them, just tell them about themselves. We're going to start from left to right. What we got?
Yeah, Lee put me right on this spot. Like, whoa, what's my name? The namaste one, the other one, chose one, that froze one, look to the left or the right. She's not right here, son. It's your boy, Mr. Namaste. Shimmy well. I'm glad to be here. Thank you to you guys and for the invite, for sure.
Take it 3 vibes in the motherfucking building. You know what it is. It's the Jet. Kevin Jet to be exact. One half of Central High Creators, streamer, gamer, all-around content creator, you know what I mean? Your favorite at that, from the city, 614, of course.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Dang. Remember that scene? 5 heartbeats. No, that's Kenny.
Yes, sir.
The Bad Guy. Got my own podcast, Bad Guy Spoken Podcast. Go check that out.
Yeah.
Talk about everything.
Well, my name is Constance, and I am host of the One Iconic Podcast.
Okay.
We are here to entertain, inspire, and inform, and shape a better future for the youth.
Oh. I'm Marquise. I go by Ohio Keese. I'm with the Central Ohio Creators.
Yes,
So
sir.
as you can see, today's episode is going to be about podcast creators. I picked these podcast creators because, first of all, I watch their stuff. Secondly, I think they're doing real dope things in the community, so I wanted them, to be involved, man. Put them on my platform, show them there's all love, no hate. Real quick, anybody can ask. This is going to be an open discussion. Why did you make this pod? Why did you do podcasts? What said, I'm about to just do a show?
True, honestly, because I got stuck in the city. Like, I wasn't even planning on coming back for I was in Charlotte living my best life. And I came up here for a money play. And Whip ended up getting told out, long story short. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm about to be here longer than I thought. So linked up with Keese. So I was putting some gaming plays together, some gaming events with my bro right here. You know what I'm saying? The chosen one. Handing out rich gaming experiences. Keese ended up coming through. We chopped it about doing something for the city, Central High Creators. And linked up a couple meetings later. It was born. We just wanted to do something for the city, man. Like, everybody already know that's really from the city. Everybody know it's the, either got to leave to blow up or, people be clicked up. They don't really support each other. It's funny acting in Columbus, all that kind of stuff. We done heard it all. But at the same time, there's so many of us, like everybody in this room, that's really working, for the city's benefit. You know what I mean? So when me and Keys came together, that was what our vision was. And that's just what we was about, man. Wanting to do something that the city could really benefit from. And we going to enjoy it along the way.
Yeah.
So I have a youth-based podcast. I put it together because I know what I needed when I was in high school, and it's just about amplifying their voices and empowering the youth and pushing them forward because, they are ultimately the next ones who are they're the next generation. They're going to be making the impact on everyone else's lives, us sitting here today.
Sure.
Future lawyers, doctors, police officers. So I want to make sure we have something for them to entertain them as well, because that's how I build their trust, because if not, they're not going to pay attention. They're going to scroll right past me. So I will be here to entertain, inspire them, and inform them.
The reason why I do this is because of this man sitting right here.
Nice.
You. The bad guy. We work together. And he was like, I'm about to start doing this podcast stuff. And I'm like, yeah, all right, nigga, call me when you get it. And then, he called me, and then I started doing episodes with him, and I met his family, became real good friends. And then he was just like, my goal was to make sure everybody has their own podcast. So, I never knew what kind of podcast I wanted. But I knew that I had to get a podcast because he wanted me to. For sure. What made you?
I was really inspired by Keenan Ivory Wayans, Kev on Stage, or the people that just try to be like, okay, not just try to be on, but they try to get their friends on too. Because it's one thing to be famous and be like, oh, I made it, y'all, and that's it. But if you can be like, look, I'm gonna bring my friends on too. I'm gonna bring the people that I know that can really grind with me, that I know like got that drive about them. And that was my whole goal, because like you said, I wanted everybody to have their own podcast. I wanted a sports podcast. I wanted a gaming podcast. I wanted anime, Marvel, DC. I wanted it to take over every single lane I can think of. And with Sledge, I was like, Sledge is one of those people that's like, okay, he is an extrovert just like me. Like, he's insane. It's insane. And I said, Kev here, because Kev's been on a couple of my podcasts, and he does his thing too. Like, he's funny. He's a gamer just like me. We got a lot in common. So I was like, bro, like, if we can... You had that conversation. You're like, bro, I wish somebody recorded this. Like, I would. That's what it came from. And then the way I am on Facebook, I'd be talking my stuff, and everybody's like, bro, that was insane. Blah blah blah. You need to have your own show. You need to have your own show. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. But yeah, and then like I said, I got people from different avenues that I never met, and I was like, look, I have my boy TK, and I was like, listen, you gotta be my boy Sledge. Like, I know y'all never. And then I got them on the show together. Got Kev on there. I was like, Kev, you funny. You should be on the show too. Got them on the show. It's like we got everybody, get the Avengers of podcasts. That was my goal. Try to get everybody get their own movie. Yeah. Got the Black Panther movie over here. We got everything. Yeah. So that's just the goal.
Mm-hmm. So when you guys was thinking of y'all's podcasts and when y'all was thinking about your names, what made you pick the name? What made you pick your name first?
So, as you know, I used to do music. Mm-hmm. We did a song together.
I know, we need to release that. I just gave up. I'm sorry.
It's all good because I am not there anymore.
Yeah.
So my name is Constance, and I always thought, how you have artists who call their fans, like Nicki Minaj has the Barbs, and Beyonce has the Beehive. So I'm like, what would I call my fans? And I'm like, I call them little icons. That's what I would call them. So when I switched over to podcasting, I'm like, and at first I thought it was a little cheesy. I'm like, I don't know how it feels rolling off the tongue. But then I started to tell my family and my coworkers about it, and they're like, oh yeah, I like that. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to do one iconic podcast. And then I just roll with it. And it makes sense because bringing on the youth and the young professionals and highlighting them and just empowering them makes them icons. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we came up with that.
Oh, for us, we wanted to have a name that helped with Columbus being the center of Ohio. So with us being the Central Ohio creators, we wanted us for people to know that we're in the middle, and even though Cleveland and Cincinnati may have the bigger stars, Columbus is still the capital of Ohio, and we wanted to represent
Cap
that
City.
Yeah.
As a podcast right here in Columbus, it started out as a YouTube, Facebook show. So this is before there was the term podcast. It was me just being bored. So I don't have the beautiful background story. I was just a bored kid in 2006. I just had Facebook, and I was like, everybody's posting their food. I want to post quotes, and I posted Black excellence quotes. So I would put my frames on and put my bow tie, and
you wore a bow tie?
Yeah, man.
Be my brother.
Okay, not too much because we could get deep in the wokeness, but we could go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, I went through this phase of understanding that we needed all of our own platforms and our own control in our community. Yeah. So I watched Hidden Colors. I remember this when I was going through college, and they were talking about how typical communities require certain elements, between your civics, your education, your medical, your media. So, me and a certain collective in South Carolina, we were in a motion of doing these particular avenues, and So we said, how do you start in any of these industries? So, I was already good with the internet and whatnot at the time. I said, I'm going to take the media route while someone else takes the distribution and the logistical route. Someone else is going into the medical. So fast forward, almost 20 years later, here we are.
Mine was the Bad Guy Spoken podcast, mainly just because I was that person that was the one that would say things that y'all were afraid to say. So I said, hey, I'll be the bad guy. Shoot, I'll be the bad guy. Yeah. So it was just that. I would just say what I say, and then I just hashtag Bad Guy Spoken. I do it on Facebook. It caught on, and then went to Twitter, was doing the same thing, and then I said, okay, I got my podcast, we're going to call it. Well, might as well keep that going. Bad Guy Spoken.
I'm over here doing this with you guys, but I get a rush out of this because I get to be myself, one.
For sure.
Also, I was always made for the camera. Mm-hmm. And then,
tell them, let them know.
But how does it feel when y'all in that chair and you're running the show? How does that feel?
Man, so when it comes to... Because I'm already like that. I'm already like, okay, I'm already doing that kind of stuff. So it's just, now you got a camera on me while I'm doing it. That's all it is. So some stuff we got recorded. Because sometimes, you argue, you like, bro, I never said that. No, you said that. Let's go back. Yeah, remember, right here, 2 minutes, 33 seconds, you said. So now we got proof. That's another reason why, too. I got proof. But yeah.
It's really taught me just to be careful with my words. Like, it just taught me to just be more impeccable, I think is the word, with your words.
Prince used a school word.
Just make sure you don't say too much that you don't need to be saying, but say enough that you want to keep them coming back. So,
but it's too much.
I need to learn that.
But it's too much. Like, what is too much though? Because I know when I was on your podcast, I was on your podcast. I'm gonna be on yours. Right. I do say too much on his, but
that's what you do. The bad guy.
That's the whole point. It's unedited.
I'm allowed to, but what is too much? Because I felt like I was preaching when I was on y'all's.
I ain't gonna lie, you was dropping bars.
But y'all like, nah, keep it going.
It was cooking up.
But I thought I was preaching. You know what I'm saying? And then as I'm watching it, I'm just like, man. I wouldn't say as an adult, but as like a person that's going into adulthood, ain't nobody was really trying to hear all that. You know what I'm saying? So like, when y'all do it, like, what is too much for y'all? Like, what is y'all's, like, all right, we doing a little bit too much, let's pivot.
I think that really depends on your audience. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're on this panel, on this couch, we all have different audiences, which is the beautiful thing. Like, my audience is specifically like 18 to 35-year-old crowd that may read books, that likes hip hop, so they like a little socio-political information, so we might talk a little politics. So I don't get too deep like in anime then. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not, that's doing too much now for my crowd, even though it's not bad discussion, but it's just doing too much. I'll tell them, like, I'm featured on the Central Ohio Creators podcast, right? And I've done like some assistance with production. And we've actually had these kind of dialogues of like, okay, what does our audience want to hear? And so, like, if there's an artist from Wisconsin that wants to be on the show, does that make sense on the Central Ohio Creators podcast?
Yeah,
so it depends on the audience from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also too about ultimately you got to make that decision for what you truly want your brand to represent. Right. We're one of many podcasts in the city. I'm sure y'all know there's some podcasts out there that's like super turned. They get a little ratchet and a little different than what it is over there on COC. You know what I mean? But that's by design though. That's what we decided we wanted ours to present to the public. Like it's nothing wrong with that because we like to have some fun too. But it's a certain way that we doing things on ours that way we can distinguish ourselves from the crowd.
And adding to that point, Jet, like I would say probably from like September to like January, we probably sat at my crib just watching different podcasts just to see the different narratives and the different ways people disseminate the information. So
most definitely,
for sure.
You work with kids though, So where's your ceiling at?
Okay, so for me, I feel like since I'm in the beginning stages of all of this, and I have my daughter and 2 other junior associates, so I have 3, just to get the firsthand insight on what's going on. I feel like, obviously, cursing, we're not doing any of that.
For sure.
But, like I said, I'm here to amplify their voices. So, say what you need to say. You know, say what you need to say. And with me being in the early stages, I'm still figuring that out. What it is.
Trust me, I think we all figure it out.
Yeah.
We all still trying to figure
so
it out.
I'm still figuring that out.
Has there been a moment where you've interviewed some youth and you feel like they were towing the line a little too much on maybe an adult level conversation? Or
So, I started this podcast a year ago. I started One Iconic podcast a year ago. And I had to actually find my purpose in why I'm doing this. So a year ago, but I knew I was always drawn back to youth. So I would bring in the adults, and the adults would talk about things, and it's just like, this isn't really what we need to talk about, because I still would have that in the back of my mind. Like, this podcast is for the youth. So starting off, it wasn't what I, the image that I wanted to put out and how I wanted to represent for them. So I had a friend tell me, look, you need to get those kids in there, Con. So I had to switch up everything. I had to make that switch. So now I am on we'll be on our third interview, actually, because we went from one studio for the first year. Now we're at a new studio. So I have two podcasts with the children. And the first podcast was just talking about why I'm doing it. And then the very last podcast, they were pretty good. No, they were pretty good. They walk in, they say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, no, ma'am,
They come correct.
Yes. So I think with them knowing why I'm doing this, it already sets the tone.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Let me ask you this, Keith, because I think, like, on Facebook, when it comes to Facebook, me and Marquise been knowing each other since Columbus Cougars. Yeah. So I think when it comes to Facebook, I wouldn't say knowledgeable, but random fact wise, I think me and Keith know a lot of random facts. So what made you, and he also is like through and through Columbus.
For sure.
Like, he's through
Ohio
and through.
Keys.
Like, it's crazy. It's low-key
Put some
crazy.
respect on that man.
Like, he be knowing some stuff about stuff. You be like, really?
Right.
And then you look,
But
so
then
like,
he'll act like he don't, though. He'll act like, so where is it at again?
yeah. So, like, what made you, like, Columbus creators, you know what I'm saying? What was like, man, this is my niche right here.
So for me, like, with my dad being a local rapper here, part of the Columbus mob, and then BHB, he's a DJ, that's my uncle, then my godfather's DJ O Sharp, like, having them three, like, being able to, like, tell me different about Columbus and stuff, and, like, just knowing, like, different history of Columbus, it made me, like, feel like super part of the city. So, like, being able to go to Columbus public schools, Groveport Madison schools, and Pickerington schools, it allowed me to connect with so many different people that it like opened my eyes to, like, how I could see the world, like, with us all being able to, like, communicate better and being able to, like, chase our dreams. So for me, Columbus is like everything. Like how Jay-Z loves New York, that's how I feel about Columbus. I love Columbus, Ohio. Like, I've had opportunities to leave Columbus, but I was like, I believe that being here in Columbus, like, our city's growing so much that I think, like, in the next 3-4 years, Columbus is going to be like a big major city for movies,
for sure.
music, and everything. And, like, I feel like all of our podcasts is going to, like, help contribute to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I had us all here, because, Constance does with the kids, and I work with kids, so when I seen that, I said, you know what, that's something that I want to see, because I would love to have that as a kid. When I see the Columbus creators, when Shim just brought me in here as being a fly on the wall, you know what I'm saying, I seen what y'all was doing. Even Kenny, like, Kenny podcast, I love it because you don't have no guidance, like no guidelines, not guidance, that's so bad. No guidelines. That's crazy. Like, you have no guidelines. Like, there's no guidelines. So it's be yourself.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we did
right.
it, I was like, can I cuss? And he was like, yeah, nigga, we on it.
Word for word, verbatim.
Yeah, nigga. Wow. So it's like be yourself, and there's no context. So Kenny will just bring out a subject, and it's really comedy.
Yeah.
And he'll just bring out a subject.
And getting a reaction.
So we'll just do something, like we first started doing, like, what's it called, like.
We just had, like, it was pretty much broad topics, and I kind of just let y'all rock. I didn't want, because we were all very, very funny, and I was like, look, I'm gonna let them just do their thing. I can just sit back and just say what I gotta say when I need to, and it just works. That's why I think that show just works so well. And I never want to put out a bad episode. So every episode, because you had that one episode that feels like a filler episode. You're like, I checked it out.
But is it a bad episode though? I know that feeling, and I'm in there.
Yeah. But there was one. I mean, there's 2 or 3 that I did shelf, and I was like, that wasn't good. But usually I try to be like, okay, every episode. So you just going through YouTube and let me go ahead and see what this show's about. You go check it out. You're like, oh, this is wild, and this is wild. I'm gonna have to see what's going on next, and that's the goal.
Okay. So listen, we're going to talk more about this here. We was going to pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is This 1/4us podcast, sponsored to you by 614us. 614us, man, you know what we're here for. Just follow us on all social media. We're doing all event-based planning to help the community and give out resources. And shout out to Self-Made. Self-Made, man, this guy, he needs to get on here too. Self-Made, he gives you jewelry, he gives you clothing. He even has his own book on how he came from rags to riches, man. So shout out to Self-Made with everything we got on. So listen, man, we all got podcasts. It all has some type of positive thing. Do you ever look at other people's podcasts and be like, man, I just need to grind harder to get my podcast to where it needs to be?
Yes.
Shit, most definitely.
I'm not even talking about like mainstream podcasts. I ain't talking about Drink Champs. I'm not talking about No Jumper. I'm not talking about Carissa Slays. I'm talking about in the city.
There's definitely people in the city that's motivating as far as podcasts go. Shout out to Cloth Talk. Eric, he be having all the fire guests. I be like, damn, he got them again. Like,
This one right here, man. I've been following you guys.
I mean, day one, honestly, just your whole scene, how it looked. I was like,
this is fire.
To me, this has been
like that.
the premiere, one of the ones I've seen. I like what Frank Nitty's doing. Shout out to Frank Nitty.
They tapping in with the whole state.
This is Ohio.
This only happens in Ohio.
Happens in Ohio.
They're going crazy for the
That's
state.
hard over there. They got a different audience they're dealing with, like the Twitch streaming crowd, which is where I feel like a lot of the podcast is going to eventually head to and pivot. It's the stream. It's going to be all just streaming eventually, I believe.
107.5, no cap. 107. I know it's not a podcast, it's still radio, but 107.5 holding it down right now, though. If you're paying attention.
They're paying the local
shout out to
music,
Jay Esquire and them. They
Jay
doing their thing.
Esquire. I'm about to say that.
Jay Esquire.
I didn't want to say it because he would be mad if I didn't give her the right. If I would have said 106.7, she would have been pissed.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want Jay on.
Yeah, I'm about to say I ain't got nothing to do. I ain't trying to get canceled. I just started.
Yeah, she's going crazy over there right
Shout out to
now,
Uncle Joe's. They got a freestyle joint. Yeah.
They do the
Mike
freestyles.
Mike Drop's been sweeping the city.
When y'all do guests, especially you, when you do guests, what do you look at to make sure that they're a guest?
Their influence and what they are doing around the city. And I do ask about how they're doing in school. I do get into that. But I know a lot of people who have kids who are doing a lot of things. So really seeing what they're doing in school and how much of an impact they're making on other people. Yeah, and that's a question that I asked too in closing of my show. Let us know why this person is important. Let us know what they're doing. If there's a high school that you want to highlight, if there's a person you want to highlight, custodian, you know what I'm saying? So I really look at what they're doing in school and really how they're going about things in their personal life and the relationships that they have. So that's really what I look at.
For me, it's like any type of creator, but you have to like be active. You can't like be a creator from like 10 years ago. So like, no, real talk. So like we've had Wallaby on there. We've had a teacher from KIP on there. We just had Raheem from Fortune or Fame on there. Like we look for people that's like active in the community and that's actually doing stuff. Yeah.
So I know, Kenny, you reach out to, because you have 12, 13, 15 podcasts.
Bruh, a lot.
I know you outsource. I know you look for people that's in different cities, even people that are, somewhat celebrities or celebrities. So.
Yeah, it depends on what podcast it is. If we're doing Bad Guy, it's pretty much open. As long as you funny, I put you on Bad Guy. But like certain ones, like we do Geek in the Sheets, where we do nothing but anime, Marvel, DC, all that stuff. And we have people that we had someone who created the actual comics, like for like TMNT, things like that. They did like the artwork for that. We had him on for that. But I try to, it just depends on the podcast mainly. Like we had Marion Alda. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Class Act, the mom. We had her on the podcast for her movie review. She gave us her take and she was talking about how she was in The Wiz. I didn't even know she was in The Wiz. So I was like, what? So her being in The Wiz, Class Act. We also had a couple Tubi movies. We reviewed Buffed Up. We had Jay Will on there. He was the funny guy on the movie. We had him on there. We had a couple different movies. The one man I want on there so bad. If we can get Clifton Powell. If I can get Clifton Powell on there, I made it. If we can get Pinky on the podcast, I made it.
Clifton Powell be acting like he don't see us DMing him. You don't be seeing us? I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, but I seen a lot of movie
from South
reviews.
Carolina too. I see.
Yeah, I see a lot of movie reviews, and I'm just like, they don't really do no hood movies for real. And I'm like, let me go ahead and represent for the hood movies at least. So yeah, that's just the goal. We're trying to just
you got a real radio voice too.
So what's up?
You got a real radio.
Oh, thank you.
like a voiceover voice.
Yeah, you got it. I wouldn't, then they're gonna see.
That's 8.
Yeah,
That's 8.
that's 8.
That's 8.
I thought we can do some jokes.
That's 8.
Nah, so where do you guys see your podcast in the next year? And this is just an open. Everybody gonna answer, but anybody can start.
In the next year?
Well, yeah, I mean, I won't say 5 years because the times might change in 5 years. We might be doing talk shows, and that's and just sidebar. I think that's why I really want to go with this. I want to make this to the point where we are in here having this. But I want to have a talk show. Bring talk shows back. Like Martin was on Word on the Street.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do y'all see?
That'd be fire. Somebody can recreate that.
Yeah, somebody can do it.
That'd be fire. With the aesthetics, that'd be fire.
So what do y'all see y'all's podcast in a year?
In a year, hopefully, we made it. That's the goal. But yeah, I've been trying to work harder. I had a little period where a couple years back, Slash know about it, he's roasted before. I had trach surgery and I had a big old hole in my throat. I said, I will not be silenced. They said, yeah, you might not be able to talk ever again. And I was like, that's crazy.
Hold my beer. Watch my God work.
Yeah, and I'll never forget because I remember being in the hospital and they was like, yeah, he can be able to talk again. And I went to go, what? I can't talk. So I said, oh. So yeah, I said, yeah, I got to be able to go back to this podcast thing. And I came back, still shot it with the bandages on my neck and everything, could barely breathe. I'm like, so next this episode, we know. Look, bro, it don't matter.
You almost checked out on it.
Spit it through the wire like Kanye for real.
Yeah. So I was just trying to make sure I'm still pushed through no matter what, and that's the goal. So in a year, hopefully, like I said, we just got bigger audience, more people know about us, and we just get on a bigger platform. Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. So my thing is, I do the talk show thing. I'm with you there. The podcast is the foundation for a mentorship program that I am creating as well. It's called Future Shapers, the TIE program, and TIE stands for the Iconic Evolution. So I tried to throw iconic in there. You know what I'm saying?
That flashy.
When I can. So hopefully the two will be up and running. The mentorship program where we focus on mental, physical, financial, and spiritual.
Love it.
I know there's 3 of y'all, but I know y'all gonna have y'all's own view on what y'all want. So go ahead.
For sure.
Yeah, as far as what we had in the year, a staple in the city, not just on the music front for marketing, but overall all businesses, entrepreneurs, people who are looking for promotion, brand marketing, to get their products and services out there.
Yes, sir.
We want to be the one-stop shop for those kind of people. If you're music, we got producer connections. Ohio Keys is also A&R Keys for those
I'm
that
an A&R now.
Shout out to Mastermind Click.
Yeah, shout
I'm
out to
looking for
Mastermind
rappers,
Click, most
singers,
definitely.
all that right
See you,
now.
Hus. What's good?
Rappers, singers, all of that.
We got a real record label.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Real label.
Looking for those nonstop, but we looking to just become a staple for that in the city, like your breakfast clubs, Funkmaster Flex, Rap City in the Basement, all that. We want to be that before the city. So that's where we're looking to be at in a year.
A year from today, let's see, 100 subscribers on Substack. Shout out to y'all for the subscribers, those who invest in. We want 50 subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to y'all. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. 10,000 subscribers on Instagram. Y'all see, I try to make my goals very smart and measurable.
I know that's right.
That's from a year from now. That's it.
I love that.
Numbers.
Yeah, we definitely want to be the go-to platform. I be seeing like rappers and singers begging Vlad and Adam 22 for interviews, and like, we got a platform here.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Where can we find you guys? I want y'all to shout out all your stuff, spell it out so people can, subscribe and everything. Where can we find you?
You can find us real simple. COC Podcast 614. That's on all platforms. YouTube, if you just type in Central Ohio Creators, you'll find us on there. But COC Podcast 614. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Yeah. We in there.
I want to hear the ladies first. You know what I'm saying? Where we can find?
That's right.
Somebody got to be a gentleman in this one.
Hey, look, I'm got home. Quick on the draw.
Quick draw, McGraw.
That's right. So find me at One Iconic Podcast, spelled out, no numbers, and it's One Iconic Podcast, just how it sounds. And my personal is Go by Constance. And my name is Constance Allen on Facebook.
Okay. Tap in.
And then Bad Guy Spoken has on all social media. Bad Guy Has Spoken. Then T1 and spell out 3 Media is the company. So look, anything T13 Media, you'll find it as well. Get some merch, t13media.com/store. Also check out all the different shows we have. Like I said, we got Bad Guy Spoken Podcast. We got Bad Guy Versus, where we play video games. Go against each other tournament style. Winner gets the Golden Chicken Award, and the winner gets the Shitty Boy
Shitty
Award.
Boy.
That's where we got the words. You never want that award.
Yeah, I've been there many a time.
I've seen TK win that award.
He'd be so proud to have it too. And then you can also catch Unbiased. You'll see TK's podcast. We talk nothing but football on there. Every week we do our we guess who's gonna win that week. Then we talk mess the very next week. Like, bro, you really thought the Eagles was gonna? Like, we just talk our mess on that one. Also, like I said, Geek in the Sheets earlier, anime, Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. We talk about all that stuff on there, same channel. And you also catch Hood Movie Review, also on the Bad Guy Spoken podcast. Talk about hood movies and the not so good hood movies. Yeah. So yeah, we watch them all. And it's sometimes it's a tough watch.
Tough watch.
Yeah. Hot Boys. Oh my lord! I ain't seen that movie in years.
That's one of the ones.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Look, I'll never watch that again. I was like, y'all lucky.
It's like the Ice Cream Man. Yes, sir.
I saw it on BET. So
no, for real.
You're in the trenches now, baby.
And my last, I got 2 more. Not a Real Court, where we just argue. Pretty much argue anything. We debate everything, do tournaments, and we do drafts on that one. And then last but not least is Book It, a wrestling podcast where we talk about everything wrestling. And I'm always right and they're always wrong.
I gotta come on that.
Straight like
Look.
So listen,
They
man,
gonna stress you out.
I usually, so listen, this is my last thought. Look at what you have right here is something that's positive. And I'm not saying that the rest of them are negative, because they're not. But if you're looking for somebody, if you're looking for something, and if you're looking to watch something that's positive, informative, caring, and about people that's about their craft and not about views, this is the people that you need to work with.
That's love, man.
We want them views, though, too. Don't get it mixed up.
Watch it.
Yeah, but listen, man,
And another one.
I want to thank these guys because, listen, a lot of them are my inspiration.
Thank you.
We want to give you some flowers, bro.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
You set this up.
I'm very happy to be here.
You take some flowers. You made this happen, man. We appreciate you.
I just want to make sure.
Appreciate you.
I just want to make sure my people are being seen. We're black, and being black is beautiful.
Most definitely.
And sometimes that we don't see the right black on our screens, and this is the right black that we see on our screens.
Yes.
And that's what we do here.
Yes.
At This One For Us podcast. Thank you for coming out. One love.